Mexico headed to their 11th Gold Cup final after beating Jamaica in the semifinal by a final score of 3-0. Let's head back out to Vegas, where Herculez is joined by Don Vegas, Mauricio, Pedroza. Mao, how you doing out there? We feeling good or what?
Don Vegas.
I'm feeling so good. So, by the way, Don Vegas says hi.
Yeah, he says hi.
Couldn't make
he
it.
could not make it.
Sent me on his behalf to talk about what it was. A very nice performance.
Your voice sounds hoarse. Were you
I was
were
yelling. Yeah, I was sitting next to our colleague Paco Gabriel, and he turns into Mexico's biggest cheerleader. So I just had to join him.
Shocker.
No cheering in the press box. You know what they say? No cheering in the press box. Now, Mao, on a recent edition of Futbol Americas, we asked if Mexico's win, I guess it was over Costa Rica, had been convincing. I thought convincing was a bit of a stretch there. Dare we break out the C word here? Was this convincing tonight? Finally.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do that. It was a better performance against Jamaica than it was against Costa Rica. But to go all the way and say it was convincing, it's not convincing because I believe this team can actually still play better than they did tonight. So whenever that happens, then I'm gonna go ahead and say they were convincing. They were good, they were solid, they were effective, less mistakes in midfield, maybe because Planepantlas Beckenbauer was not there. But I like what I saw, and I see improvement. Mexico was in a very, very dark place. Less than a month ago, we were here, sitting in this same amazing set from ESPN, talking about one of the worst nights in Mexican soccer history, less than a month ago.
Right.
So of course there's improvement, but I think there's still way to go for me to say that the team had a convincing performance.
Wow. Come on. This is the best they've looked in 2 years, and you're going to say it wasn't convincing? They just steamrolled a team you said was a candidate to win this tournament.
You too.
Yes.
It was your champ.
That's what I'm saying. And you're going to say it's not convincing?
But
Jamaica
was not that good.
Why do you think they weren't that good?
Disappointing.
Because Mexico was that good. Because Mexico was convincing. I look at. Say what you will about not wanting to buy into it yet. I get where you're. I get this whole I don't want to jinx it kind of feel that you got. You got that. Mexico was convincing, Seb. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Their midfield ran through Jamaica's midfield. Their midfield made the Premier League stars that Jamaica has inoperative. Okay. Sanchez, Chavez, and Romo.
Yeah, they were very good.
Were on a different level tonight.
They were very good. Yes.
Jorge Sanchez, very good staying with players like Leon Bailey, Demarai Gray. Gallardo, very good to assist. I mean, Memo Ochoa never had anything to do, and you're going to sit here and honestly tell the people that Mexico wasn't convincing. Jimmy Lozano has sold hope. And not only has he been selling and peddling hope, but he's been proving it with the first team. The only loss they have in this tournament was with an alternate squad. Okay? But when he's played first-team football, they've looked good. Yes, they've looked vulnerable at times, but they've won, they convinced, and they put joy back into the faces and hearts of Mexican fans, something I've not seen on a Mexican squad in over 2 years. That's a reality. Tonight, we're here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. You said so. It was a house of horrors not too long ago. A 3-0 loss to the United States men's national team. The fans, they punished the team today. Less than half, would you say, were at the stadium?
Oh, it was way less than that.
Okay.
Not even 30,000.
Performances like this will bring the fans back.
I'm trying to think, Mal. I'm trying to really rack my memory banks to try and think when I last felt this good about how Mexico played. I think it is before the pandemic. I think it's 2019. I don't think it's 2 years ago. There's maybe a 45-minute stretch in qualifying or some Nations League games that you can piece together, but this performance, man, the first half hour, running Jamaica off the field, and a Jamaica that I had to hear for weeks and months was the threat of this tournament from Herculez Gomez. Herc, you got to explain to me, and this must be the truth, right? The Mexican player must be the most disrespected, undervalued commodity in world football.
No, it's not true.
Because we got Premier
in
League
world football.
No,
I'm
come
sorry.
on.
Based on what?
Come on.
Henry Martin, Liga MX. Uriel Antuna, Liga MX. Orbelin Pineda, Greek League. Way better than 3 Premier League players for Jamaica.
I guess.
You tell me. You tell me. You tell me.
Listen,
you tell me why Leon Bailey, Mikel Antonio.
I'll tell you.
That's
We're not going to debate the quality.
That is ignorant.
We're not Seb, we're
ignorant.
not going to debate here the individual quality of 3 or 4 players from Jamaica.
Thank you.
We don't have to debate that. That is clear. There's a reason why they've made a career of playing in the toughest league in the world, which is the Premier League. There's a reason why. We spoke about this on the show. There's less and less Mexican players that are making the jump to quality teams. Not only teams in Europe, but quality teams. So that's why I keep saying it was a good performance. It was a very, very solid performance. Is it a performance to go nuts about it, to go crazy about it, and to think that all the problems that we explain and detail here on this very same show are solved? Not yet.
No.
I want to wait. I want to wait and see, because tonight Jamaica was extremely disappointing. So I cannot measure the Mexican national team against another squad that completely underperformed. And
Well,
you gotta take
there's a
that.
reason they underperform. I will give
There's a
Mexico
reason-
credit.
yes. But they did underperform.
Now going back to Seb's very ignorant comment about the
You don't have to
Jamaican
do
team.
it.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Now you explained very good individual players. Individual players don't win you a game. A team, a collective wins you a game. And how many times on all the individual shows or different shows we
Panama. Panama is a clear example of that.
Very good example. How many
Tell
times
me
on
about
different shows have
how
we
great
said
the Mexican collective is
Mexico
all of a
can-
sudden now. Right.
Well, it was way better
Well,
tonight.
did you not see it?
It was way better tonight.
What are you watching?
You are
see them,
ready
you
to
see them
ride
against the
that
United States. You see
Lamborghini
them against Qatar. Come
and
on,
drive
the
it
Mexican
100 miles per
collective
hour.
now. Suddenly, the
hold on,
Mexican
Seb.
collective is
Seb.
amazing. Please.
Seb, think about this for a second. It's the same group of players, and Tata Martino couldn't get to him. Diego Coca couldn't get to him. All of a sudden, with Jimmy Lozano, you see a different type of team. Say what you will about the opposition, but this same opposition was giving them fits in El Azteca.
Yep.
The same opposition. Give this Mexican national team some credit. We're not saying they're going to go on and win the Gold Cup. Not just yet. We're not saying even if they win the Gold Cup, all the problems are solved. Not just yet. But you have to acknowledge this team and the reaction.
Great. All right, let's talk about Jimmy Lozano's decisions with the starting 11. I guess the big question was Edson Alvarez. No, you didn't have him. Obviously got hurt at the end of the quarterfinal. He seems to have solved that problem quite well. Although maybe we should call the Edson Alvarez problem a problem in air quotes, because they did, as you guys mentioned, look quite a bit smoother with him not in the midfield and certainly not in that back line.
Yeah, I mean, I was very curious to see what Jimmy Lozano was going to do. It was clear that Eric Sanchez was going to take his place. But what I saw from the stadium, whenever Edson Alvarez plays, he's the number 8, right? He's the holding midfielder.
No, the 6.
Number 6, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys keep confusing me with those numbers. He's a holding midfielder, and then he has 2 other players to his sides that go box to box.
Right.
I think the fact that Edson was not there, Luis Romo was supposed to be that number 6, but if you think about it, Luis Chavez played alongside him, leaving Eric Sanchez as a number 10, which I think was genius because it actually gave the team more control on ball, and I think that showed. Now, the question is, if Edson Alvarez is fit enough, is good enough to go on Sunday, what do you do? Because this was clearly the best performance so far, and at least for my money, a lot of that has to do with having Luis Chavez and Luis Romo paired up at that position and freeing the space for Eric Sanchez.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Not the positional change, not these players playing instead of Edson Alvarez, but the fact that there's going to be controversy surrounding Edson Alvarez. I do not like this for the Mexican national team. Edson Alvarez has plenty of haters. We've got one in production. We got one here right next to me. On my right,
I ain't no hater.
They would rather not have him on the field. He's the only Class A Mexican player they have in Europe. The only
So
player
why do
that
they
the
look
last
better
2 years-
without him, Herc?
Hold on.
Why do they look better without him?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get to. This team, and it's very simple to see, this team, the way Jimmy Lozano wants him to play, as dynamic as he wants that midfield, he doesn't have the quality on the ball in the midfield. That's a reality here. Jimmy Lozano wants more quality on the ball from his players, but Edson Alvarez gives you so much in terms of leadership, in terms
intangibles.
of intangibles when it comes to protecting the back line, when it comes to being that person that could start and spring different attacks. But he's not going to be the guy in the final third threading balls like a Romo will, threading balls like a Luis Chavez or an Eric Sanchez will.
Here's where I see a huge problem for Edson Alvarez.
You're talking about a different Edson, huh?
Yeah, listen, when he actually came on as a sub, right?
Right. Why did he come on though?
You could. That's another. Yeah, that's a conversation that needs to be held, but maybe another time. But I think it doesn't do him any favors that when he was on, he made the same mistakes that we were criticizing the previous games, giving the ball away, getting late to tackles. He was booked after just 5 minutes of being on the field. So that's actually another proof for Jimmy Lozano to see. When we played, 75 minutes without him, we were really good. Whenever he was in, we were not that good. So, and let's just remember one final thing. The Olympics, the Tokyo Olympics, Edson Alvarez was not a part of that team. Who was playing that position? Luis Romo. So, I mean, honestly, for my money, I think even if he's fit, even if he's good to go, I don't think Edson plays the final.
I don't think he starts. You got to be 100% fit to start this game, and that's why I was questioning him coming on, because he's fit enough to start, and you start him, or he's not fit enough to play, and you don't risk him out there. In a game that 20 minutes ago, a goal happens, gives Jamaica some hope, and things can change. I didn't understand it.
Guys, let's get to the game-changing moment in tonight's game between Mexico and Jamaica. I don't think there's much doubt here. It's got to be the early goal, right? Gol de vestidor. Henry Martin right off the top. Jesus Gallardo kind of sets him up. I think his first touch is a little bit long, but he gets to it first, finishes to make it 1-0. For me, an early goal is kind of proof that you are convincing. But maybe what you're saying, Mal, when you said they're not convincing, is that this goal kind of conditioned the rest of the game. Because it felt for me like after this, Mexico was in cruise control, a level of
Do you think it was this goal or the free kick that conditioned the rest of the game?
No, I think it was this goal, and here's why. Let's go back to Jimmy Lozano's presser yesterday. The one thing that he emphasized is we have to be fast, early, strike before they do.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that happened against the first game against Honduras, right? A lot of pressure in that team. What happens? They score in the first 3 minutes, and then all the pressure, there's some sort of relief that, okay, we scored, now we can play our game. Yeah, now you're forcing your rival to attack you, right? So that's why, I mean, whenever you score after 80 seconds, it gives you a different feeling to the game. But for Sev's credit, I believe that proves also how focused this team was, how committed they were, the way they understood the magnitude of tonight's game. And when you play fast, you start fast, and you score fast like they did, then you're in control. So that's why it was crucial for them to listen to Jimmy and score first.
Yeah, let me get into Jamaica really quick and how disappointed I was in this opening goal. This was the same old Jamaica that we've seen for the last 2 decades. I mean, the opening play had 2 Jamaican players crash into each other. That springs a Mexican counter on the opposite side, and everybody drops right into the box where Andre Blake can't see anything, and where that midfield is supposed to be protecting him, when that midfield is supposed to be at least shielding. There's nobody there. It's not a good touch from Henry Martin. It goes away from him, has enough time to latch onto it, reach it, and score a goal. And then when you think, okay, it's early enough where they can react, it's the free kick from Luis Chavez that really does it for me. When they had any hope, any chance of thinking we can still be in this, that goes in, and it's a dagger.
Henry Martin, by the way, with that goal, probably helps his case for the starting spot, doesn't he? I've been long yelling for Santi Jimenez to get some time. But Henry Martin getting a goal right there is probably going to help him, isn't it, Mal? My guy's going to get buried on the bench, isn't he?
No, I mean, yeah, he definitely is going to start the final. There's no reason why he's going to change that.
If he's fit, yeah.
He's fit, yeah, and I think he will be fit. That substitution, it usually happens at the 60th minute mark, as it did tonight. But listen, yes, you want your number 9 to score. I saw a lot of things that Henry was doing to support either Antuna or Orbelín Pineda. Whenever Eric Sanchez was approaching that front line, they were actually creating great spaces, good play, very fluid. And that's something that maybe in Jimmy Lozano's head, Santiago Jimenez is not quite there yet. It's not quite there. And you know this, it's not easy to be a sub and just try to prove yourself in 30 minutes, 25 minutes. And I've seen Santiago Jimenez with a lot of pressure on his shoulders. But this goal absolutely helps Henry Martin's case to be the starter.
That's what it is. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. You can't sit here and think that Jimmy Lozano isn't going to turn around and start Henry Martin again. That's exactly what he's going to do. Santi Jimenez, you're not even going to remember what he did when he came on because you're thinking Henry scored.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Santi Jimenez not on the score sheet. Henry Martin buries one. Let's get a man of the match in here. I think production has chosen Luis Chavez. Guys, do we have any problems with that after his exceptional golazo against Andre Blake?
Zero problems. And it's not only the goal. You said it. It was very important at that time because that actually gave Mexico more time to feel in control of the rest of the game. But I think the way he played, starting from the build-up alongside Luis Romo and then creating a lot of chances, approaching that front line with Eric Sanchez. Listen, I think, well, he joins a very distinguished class right there alongside Kelly Acosta.
What a graphic. Who picked that one up?
But listen, I think it's not coincidence that whenever Luis Chavez increases his level, whenever he plays better, the rest of the team plays better. And that's an important player, and so was he tonight for me.
He's been a very good player since even before the World Cup, and a lot of people are asking for him maybe to step aside and for somebody else to come on, which is crazy to me, but I don't think he was the MVP for Mexico today. If I'm thinking about the man of the match, I'm going with Eric Sanchez. Eric Sanchez changes the way this team plays. He adds an extra dynamic element to this midfield that they didn't have before. If he's not there, it's not the same pace. And if it's not the same pace, they're sitting and reacting to the opponent. He sets the tone.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.